Hello and welcome to the shop. I'm Jared and this is the Questionable Garage, and this is a very questionable purchase. A very questionable purchase. Long ago, when we initially did the tour of the property with editor Dwayne, we found this trailer sitting in the woods full of some really cool race car stuff. The trailer's seen better days. It unfortunately had caught fire long ago. It has a shower, as all trailers should, but we've got a pair of, I think these are Spitfires, Triumph Spitfires. We've got one fairly complete rust-free body that actually was not damaged in the trailer fire. In the very back is a full fiberglass front end for one. There's another car in there, and all of this could be yours. And then I found out it was about to just get hauled off to scrap and be gone, and I felt like there was a little bit too much valuable history in there. It came from a shop that used to race these small cars. You got Triumphs, Healeys, all of those little tiny British sports cars that people absolutely love. And I couldn't just let them go away. There could be something there, something one of you need to restore a car at yourself. I didn't want it to go away forever. So I made a deal to keep it.
And you said this thing's been buried here for how long? At least 8 years?
At least 8 years. So this was at my friend Randy's, GRC's place, when he started renting it, and then they moved it here. My plan is to try to pull the good parts out of it.
Yeah.
And then see if I can do anything with it. But realistically, I don't fit in a Jensen.
Yeah.
So I'm probably just trying to get it out to save the cars.
Yeah.
For someone who does, we don't get to enjoy
No.
the light thing. So
Yeah.
but we got to cut a couple of the trees that have grown through the trailer.
We're just gonna cut one so it doesn't scratch your truck and yank it out of the rest.
And then we've confirmed the truck moves, the jack on the front of
Yeah.
it, not easily. So we're gonna get it down just enough. It's been dry for more than a week because where I have to pull the trailer through is through the two big rain drainage areas that hold water, and it's mostly solid right now. So we might get stuck.
Heck yeah.
And you're already hooked up.
Yeah,
You're just gonna get in and go.
I'm just gonna leave you.
And
So
then,
that's the tree we're gonna cut, just so we don't scratch up his pretty truck here. And it latched.
there we go.
You know, honestly, I think that's probably out of the ground now. So maybe if we try spinning that, and honestly, these triangles, depending on the articulation, might be all right.
That's just the biggest thing, is like we're stuck having to do some off-road.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I'm questioning that choice a whole lot. But I figured if we are gonna go through an abandoned race trailer, cutting things up with tiny British sports cars, we probably should have a tiny American man. So I called my friend James.
Hello?
Asked him if he wanted to come out and play, and you said yes.
Absolutely. I'm always down to play with some tiny sports cars.
Unfortunately, it's been raining. Now it's really sunny with slight overcast, no breeze. So it's humid.
It's a perfect day.
And where we're working is covered in mud too. So this is gonna actually just be fun. Like, it's one of those things that's very different, but we get to save some history or find out it really is all junk. So who knows? Our game plan, as you can tell, this trailer once upon a time was on fire. Not with the cars in it. From what we can tell, they don't look like they've been burnt up, but the trailer is very burnt. There's no floor, so we can't really just unload it naturally. So we're gonna cut it up.
Sounds like fun.
We're just gonna slowly work our way back and see what we unearth.
See what we find.
Do you think it's cool?
It's definitely cool.
Do you think it's questionable?
It's definitely questionable.
Perfect. All right, should we start? Was this the appropriate tool for rotten?
We could probably
Come on. Okay, and then, surprisingly, it's holding on by one hinge. All right, so as we're kind of going through this, we're gonna have several categories. We're gonna have burn pile wood, potential valuable parts. Do you need a shower?
Trash.
Okay, trash. And then metal to recycle. What did we get into?
Plenty of both.
Yeah.
Three.
So this is a sharp transmission. So that turns potentially sellable part. I do appreciate, you pointed it out before we had the camera on, the number of bell housing bolts.
It had to have been held on by 1,000 Phillips head screws.
I mean, it is British. They do like Phillip. So that turns.
Turn.
Basically, we're gonna get the rear unearthed a little bit, and we're just gonna start cutting it out. So, what genre of music for your time lapse? What are you looking for? What do you want Dwayne to find?
House choice.
No, it's always Dwayne's choice. Give him a direction. Come on.
We
Pressure's
should
on.
probably go with something kind of rock and roll.
Rock and roll?
Rocking and rolling this trailer.
Death metal rock or classic
Sounds
rock?
good.
Death metal. Okay, there you go, Dwayne. Death metal rock. That's ready to chop into smaller pieces. So I kept calling this a Jensen Healy. It turns out, as James pointed out, it's a Triumph. Not a Triumph, a Triumph. And he thought that was because that's how fast it goes. 3 miles per hour. So yeah, I don't know classic, tiny, vintage British sports cars, but we're gonna save them because it needs it.
The Triumph Spitfire was built to directly compete with the Austin Healey Sprite. Originally designed in the early 60s, the plans for the Spitfire fell by the wayside while standard Triumph was going through financial troubles. Taken over by Leyland Motors, known for their famously reliable and high-quality vehicle builds, they found these plans and quickly gave it the green light for production. Now our rusty, beautiful Triumph Spitfire Mark III is going to be made between 1967 and 1970. About 65,000 of these cars were made, and it features a 1.3-liter four-cylinder engine. And what really set these cars apart were their lightweight, fun, and generally tight-handling chassis, which made them incredibly popular for racing. And let me tell you, when we're talking about racing, these things were fast. 0 to 60 in just over 13.4 seconds, and eventually reaching a top speed of 95 miles an hour.
Also, I totally misjudged the amount of time it was going to take to cut this apart. Told everyone we'd have it unloaded and home in 3 hours. That's not working out too well so far either, but we're making progress. It's just a very heavy, well-built trailer that we're having to figure out how to cut apart safely. Well, we've succeeded in sweating a lot.
And we made the trailer more flimsy.
Yeah, it was flimsy beforehand, but we've got all the skin off and we can see in. And we've come to the conclusion the base is too rusty to worth trying to save, so we're just gonna take what we want out and take everything else to scrap. Now that I can see the car, I'm wondering if this is more questionable of an idea to try to save these, but it has a transmission installed. There is a transmission in there, but there's no shifter or drive shaft or trans tunnel or seats. I don't know what's under the hood, so we can at least look at that, and then we'll take inventory of the rest of it, because it looks like I have the market cornered on rear side marker lights for these things, so. Does that go? Okay.
Hey, it's got an engine.
Oh, there is an engine, but that's it. There's no plug wires. Is there carburetor on your side?
There's a duct tape cover.
So there's no carburetor.
I don't think it's gonna run today.
No, there's a cut ignition wire, coil wire. The pedal box is kind of interesting. There's your clutch slave. That's kind of cool how it goes backwards. But yeah, I don't know if I at least need plug wires and a carburetor. Do you think there's a carburetor in here?
There's at least some.
There's something in there. I'm gonna come to the other side and see if by hand engine turns. The bumper comes with the hood. How good is that as a bumper?
I guess we'll find out when we pull it out.
I mean, because you've got two little hinge pins. Oh no, I'm sorry. There's like a secondary lower
Crash
bumper.
bar, okay. I don't think crash safety was the concern.
No, not when you're trying to go lightweight. So yeah, there's definitely no carburetor. All right, that's gonna be at least a wrench. I appreciate the 2-inch bolt on it. James, what was I thinking?
Well, we got plenty of good used tires.
Oh, yep, no, that's gonna be locked up tight. Also, they use all of them. It's like 8mm bolts on the bell housing. I don't think this car makes the power to require that. So no radiator, nothing. This is
a project.
I don't know if it's questionable or dumb. It is fairly complete so far, but all right.
I don't think it's our project. I think there's somebody out there that would really enjoy
everything how it is.
that.
I wonder if this was in the fire. Because one, the way the paint is, and two, it's melty down a little bit. The weather stripping looks
the
like
windshield surround
melted.
That looks a little more burnt than.
But that being a Triumph, I did find Jensen Healy wheels. There was something to do with the Jensen Healy in here. Like I said, if you need side marker light, we have got you covered. Lucas, England, that looks lightly used, but I think I've seen 10 of those. A Jensen Healy hood that's rusted, and the weirdest looking Goodyears I have ever seen. Sad that they're basically brand new. Blue Streak Sports Car Special. For racing purpose only. Not for highway use, James. You can't put them on rat shed. But
Can't or won't?
shouldn't. But I've got like 20 of those to dispose of. There's some wire and there's some more. I say we finish unpacking and then we can really take a tour, because it really is just, everything is shoved in here. I see racing door skin, stock door skin, trunk lids off of a Mark III Spider. I'm gonna assume that's worth a lot of money. I'm gonna hope it. What do you think, James? Mark III Spider?
At least $1 million, right?
Perfect. It could be yours for 500. Watch it actually be worth an astronomical amount of money. I have no clue. There's a seat made just for James right there, that fiberglass bucket.
It is
The garden
wide and
hose,
little.
who knows?
What is your favorite thing so far, James?
Oh man,
How much
the
I'm
Jensen
regretting?
Healy wheels are really cool looking.
Whoever raced his number 66, it looks like.
I hope they were successful.
Or was it 99? Oh, it was probably 99.
Yeah.
Or apostrophe.
Quotation.
Quotes. But, and of course that's got Bondo in it too. Probably from the factory. Well, James, let's unpack the loose parts and then bring a trailer down and yank these cars out.
Sounds good.
What was I thinking?
Questionably. Got little cars on it. Pretty
Thanks.
aggressively.
Here.
Oh, wow.
Pit here.
Hit here.
I really hope there's like a race shop that needs all this stuff. And they just reach out and they're like, hey, take it all. Here's a reasonable offer.
Yeah.
There you go. Show the camera.
Show the camera. Tweety bird tag frame.
What is this car? Is this the Healy?
I don't know. Does it say on the back? No. I feel like it's a Triumph of some sort still, right? I don't
Well,
know.
it has Jensen Healy wheels on it,
Okay. We'll go with that.
but that doesn't mean any. Well, here, steering wheel. Yeah, this is the Healy. And we got no key for it, so this is going to be fun to deal with. But this is the Jensen Healy.
The Jensen Healy. These vehicles fall under that same line of British lightweight fun. I was going to say reliable, but that's not what they are known for, as the Jensen Healy came to production with a Lotus 2-liter. Yes, Lotus, also famously reliable. But what the Lotus engine did give the car was substantially more power than the Triumph Spitfire, allowing it to travel 0 to 60 in 7.8 seconds and a whopping 119 mile-an-hour top speed. Unlike the Triumph Spitfire, which saw substantial production numbers, through all models of the Jensen Healy, there are only 10,500 of them globally, with only 7,600 of them making it to the US between the two model years.
Well, I find a spot to hook up to it. Well, that's been a long 3 hours, and I will say the cars weren't quite what I expected. They're still rare, and they're mostly complete, sort of. I was hoping to make the Triumph run. The one I thought was the Jensen, but it turns out that the white one's the Jensen.
And I don't think it's gonna happen.
Not
today for us.
Not quickly, not without a lot of parts. You may ask, Jared, why don't you build yourself the Triumph? Why don't you save it, you know, and add it to the 13 other projects you're doing? I'm sitting on the trailer next to it. I think this alone explains why I'm not personally building a Triumph. Long ago at the race shop where I kept my circle track car when I was 14, the guys joked and said I needed to go remove some parts from an MG Midget that was out in the parking lot. And I got stuck underneath the steering wheel and we had to remove it so I could get out of the car. It's just, this isn't built for these. It's for James. Also, if you want these, reach out to me. I'll make you a deal. I know there's a lot of good parts. We found some limited slip differentials. There's every transmission you could want for one of these cars, and there's 2 cars. So send me an email, make a reasonable offer. The headlight switch might need to be replaced.
We got doors, trunks,
Doors,
fenders.
trunks, I mean, we got everything. A set of Jensen Healy wheels, a Jensen Healy.
I think we got several sets of those wheels.
So there's still a lot of cleanup to do. We don't need to show you any more of those time lapses. Sometimes you don't always get the win you were hoping for, but I got to spend the day with my friend James, editor Dwayne behind the camera. I told him to just come help film, and then he ended up lifting stuff, which James and I appreciate too. So, tiny British sports cars.
It was a big amount of work.
But yeah, we drug them out of a trailer, and hopefully one of you are going to look at these things and realize they have the parts that you need, or they're the perfect candidate for you to resurrect. But appreciate you guys, as always, hanging out while we make very, very questionable decisions and purchases of a trailer. I'm Jared, reminding you guys. Wait, stop the outro, Dwayne. We can't end like that. It just didn't feel right. It felt like we should give it one more shot. So I went back and looked at the Triumph, our Spitfire, really close, just to see if I could get it fired up quickly, and I couldn't. We've got the wrong intake manifold to go with the carburetors we have. We have no ignition system, and it was gonna take a couple days to get the engine turning over. It just made no sense. And I didn't like how it felt like we needed a little something more, and our ultra dependable Lexus came in clutch. Now, sitting in front of us is a 2016 Lexus IS200T, T standing for turbo, because our little 2-liter needs the turbo to be a little peppy. This is the wife's daily driver. It's a little bit new and modern for a lot of what we have in the shop, but that's because she needs something reliable to drive every day. And being such a reliable vehicle, it realized we needed something extra for this episode. So its water pump failed catastrophically, and we're gonna do that so we can end the episode on a victory. Now, you may be asking, why an IS200T? Why did you get the small displacement one? Well, this car's job is to be fuel efficient, look good, and get her to work, home from work, and occasionally carry 1 or 2 Pyrenees. Honestly, it's 1 now because they are so big, and you know, it's IS, the smaller of the cars. One of the big reasons we went with the 200T over, let's say, a slightly older 250. IS250 is a direct injection motor. This, just like our ISF, is direct injection and port injection, so you don't have the problems of the heavy carbon buildup on the back of the valves that you see in a lot of the German cars, and it's plaguing pretty much all of them. The IS250 was having that same issue, so Toyota did what Toyota does, over-engineer and solve the problem. But speaking of solving the problems, we're not going to get this water pump fixed with me talking anymore. So jump to us working on this water pump and hopefully getting the wife's daily back up. Otherwise, she might have to drive roadblock every day, and you know, that thing stands out a whole lot more than a blue BMW.
All right, well, this is the best angle I'm gonna be able to get for you guys. I was gonna do it from the top, but I have to remove like 17 more things, and the stuff I needed to remove from the bottom, I realized we could do it from here. But you can see, this is our water pump. You can see our nice pink mess from it, but if we grab it, you can kind of hear it, and let's see if I can put my hand to where you can see.
it should not move like that. So I've got the coolant drained. I'm hoping we'll have minimal splash, but we'll probably have maximum. Oh, that one right in the bucket, of course. There's two ways of doing these water pumps. One's like the entire housing, and it costs a lot more. It's also a lot harder. At least it's not an EcoBoost. If you're familiar with the EcoBoosts, those timing or water pumps live behind the timing covers. You got to tear the whole engine apart practically to do it. Plus, if you don't catch it soon enough, there's risk of that coolant getting in with your oil. Alright. And there it goes. Kind of chunky. We'll get the new one in there and then we get to spray and clean everything up. Alright, O-ring is set in nice and good. Get all our bolts started. Two things I took off before getting to the belt, you'll see us putting it back on, is the idler pulley at top and then the serpentine belt tensioner. Those all have to come off to make room. Snugged up. Kind of surprised that this water pump let go at 100,000 miles. I guess that's just the Toyota owner mentality. Still my favorite version of that ever is when I was at the dealership long ago. We had a customer with a 22R, had a camshaft break. Not a common failure, but it did. And his response was, "What do you mean the camshaft broke? It only has 300,000 miles." Flip that to my wife's grandparents, who are loyal Chrysler fans, and once said, well, we got a good 100,000 miles out of that car. It was a good car. It's very different expectations. I'll let you know what I think of them, but Wellworth sent me out some of their products. It used to be a professional only brand, and they're expanding to mail order and getting it at home, and what I've used so far I've been impressed with. So we'll see how their oil guzzler actually handles coolant, which, if we're being honest, it's completely different formulations and things needed to clean, but it kind of looks like it's rinsed a lot of it off. Now this is always the step that's not as much fun, like taking the time to clean all that residue off twofold. One, you're giving customer or even yourself a better job, and two, it makes it easier to figure out if you start having other problems. Like if there's another coolant leak, you're not dealing with a bunch of gross tracing everywhere, making it hard to find anything new. So you got your idler pulley, and that lives right on top. Your tensioner. I actually kind of like that it's a spring tensioner versus hydraulic. You can get some chattering noise from a spring tensioner, but they really are kind of a forever tensioner, which was the whole point of this car. It just works. There we go. Well, let's clean up the belly pan, put it on, and fill it with coolant and fire it up and check it. All right, so we got it together, we've got it cleaned up, and you'll notice on a lot of modern cars, you'll find two radiator caps. One that's gonna have a pressure cap and one that doesn't. So this will be your pressure cap, and this is just a dummy cap. We ran into, back when I ran Speed for Sale, we had so many GTRs. People would call in with them overheating because they had two caps right next to each other, and they would put the spring cap on the non-spring cap and the unspring cap where the spring cap goes, so it would leak coolant and not bypass properly and would overheat. And the number of people who, when I told them to switch the radiator caps, would hang up and then never call back because it fixed the problem when they finally did it. Basically, what you could do is go through your non-pressurized side until you start seeing coolant come into the expansion tank. That lets you know that you've got most of all the air out. So now we want to start the car, make sure the water pump is no longer knocking, make sure the water pump's not leaking, and then we'll turn the heat on max, let the heater core go ahead and open up, thermostat open up, make sure we've got the coolant flowing everywhere, and then set our final level. And then we'll call this done. A little bit more triumphant than the Triumph, I think, as far as getting something running correctly this episode. So this is a very special Lexus. It has voice command. So I'll be, as long as I say it right, it should start. Lexus, start. Does your Lexus do that? Well, first off, it's not knocking anymore, and the water pump's not wiggling all over, and I don't see coolant blasting out everywhere. So far we've got all wins there. Now it's just a matter of letting it warm up, and we'll be good to go. Well, there we go. Obviously, this is not one of the two small British sports cars, but I kind of wanted to end with something, you know, going right. It felt off on that last outro, just not bringing that car back to life. That's going to be up to one of you guys, maybe, if you're brave enough, or if you need parts. You know, they're decent parts cars. I've got a lot of them, so maybe reach out. But thank you, Lexus, for deciding to brake in a very convenient and easy way. Let me walk up close with this water pump now. You can see that's an impressive failure. Not one I expect from a Toyota product, but you know, it happens, and it was relatively easy to fix. So now we can end an episode feeling like we've accomplished something. Not to say James, Dwayne, and I did not get a lot done by pulling what we could out of that trailer, and that was worth saving. I just didn't have that punch to it, but now the wife can go back to her daily, and hopefully it'll be a little more Toyota and Lexus-like in the future, because I've got a lot of really bad broken stuff that needs my attention, but we've got this punched out on a Sunday, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. But we're gonna wrap up. I'm Jared, reminding you guys to always make questionable choices, and it's okay to admit that maybe the questionable Triumphant Healy, maybe that was a bad choice. Questionable, bad, I don't, you tell me what you think in the bottom comments. I'm still on the fence. We'll see you.